everyone, we are back from Consensus. We are back at Consensus. We're bringing you some interviews. Leah Wald is going to be joining me in a little bit, but for now, I wanted to go live. I didn't want to miss this guy walking away. And of course, this is Alex Petrov of BitFury. Great seeing you again. Thank you for coming all the way out to New York.
Thank you, Tony.
So I want to kind of speak up, but I'm also having a problem hearing you. I hope our audio is good, and it is getting a little loud. I'm starting to get a bit of a crowd around me. But Alex, so your operation with BitFury, you guys are expanding globally. It's no longer just the country of Georgia. Oh, I got it. I'll take care of it. It's this way and like that. There you go. This should be good. All right. So tell us about the latest news with BitFury and what do you guys see?
So the BitFury right now is not just a mining company. We started changing our profile long time before, and right now we also the software manufacturer. The BitFury is a group of the companies. We have BitFury construction, BitFury engineering, BitFury software, BitFury mining. They all handle the different responsibilities in different areas. When you're talking about the Georgia was not the first data center. Before Georgia, we also had the data center in Finland. They also built the data center in Iceland. Not a lot of people know, but Genesis Mining was just staying next to our building in Iceland. They just repeat the same building, same profile, using what they did before. But before right now also expand our operation, and they also expanding our software team. Right now, our software team like almost 200 people. They're developing over 5 different products. Some of the products like in Exonum, like a crystal data, blockchain analysis, we are presenting today and tomorrow. BitFury also invested in Emercoin, quite nice and interesting.
You invested in Emercoin?
Yeah.
That's the one with like the little blue logo with like an E on it? Out of Russia.
The guys are originally living in US, but yes, they originally came from Russia, and one of the members from Emercoin, Oleg Kavalka, is right now in Estonia, in Tallinn. The Oleg developer living in the US, and the rest team, they also located in US or distributed around the globe. But the team by itself is brilliant. They made absolutely brilliant product. Right now, BitFury not the only invest in the project. They also trying to add the straight for all the team. They searching for additional developers. They add the marketing. They add all our force of BitFury. They finding a lot of customers. They signed a contract with Coca-Cola. They also a week ago we signed contract about releasing the university diplomas on the Emercoin blockchain. And during last half year, I think they signed approximately like 15 contracts for Emercoin, using it like a platform for different projects.
But is it a mineable coin? Is it a proof of work coin?
Absolutely, yes. It's.
Are you guys mining it?
No, we are not mining the Emercoin right now. So the Emercoin using the Norgit mining, but the Emercoin originally using the hybrid algorithm. So it's proof of work and proof of stake. And these are the additional trades for Emercoin. The Emercoin right now getting a lot of exahashes of their mining power.
Oh, no, go on.
Yeah, but mining just the Emercoin is not so profitable.
So we are finally joined by Leah Wald. So that's my co-host, Leah. Say hi to Alex Petrov of BitFury.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, hi, Leah.
Hey, I'll monitor all your fans over here. Throw some questions your way.
Yeah, and let us know how the volume is, and if we need to push people like Eric on the way here.
Bouncer style? All right, perfect.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get. All right, so let's slightly move on from there. How are you seeing the ecosystem evolving since the SegWit 2x? Obviously, the 2x part did not happen. We got SegWit into the system. Did you anticipate the fork of Bcash let's say like a month before August 1st, did you anticipate that Bitcoin ABC was going to actually go through with it, and via BTC we're going to go through and actually fork off with a larger block? Is that something you anticipated?
So I think the SegWit by itself is very critical point for a Bitcoin scaling. I was thinking, and I was promoting also the idea what the SegWit is really necessary option to improve the Bitcoin 2 years ago, and I was really disappointed that the community just battling about getting the SegWit activated or not. But this is all the social aspects. The people are not the experts. They doesn't really understand how SegWit working. Technically, it's looking quite a simple one, but the SegWit have also the economical side. The economy of the Bitcoin is not the simplest one thing. Then they start using the Bitcoin. We was using the transactions in 2013. Average amount of the transactions of input per one single transaction was 2-3. For 2014, then the price for Bitcoin was grow up. The transaction are changing, and they're using like 7-8 input per one transaction. And what the SegWit is doing, it's exactly optimizing the input transaction, and they're taking more or less space in the block, and result customer paying less fee, and it's becoming more optimal. If you're just increasing the block size, it doesn't give you so efficiency, the similar efficiency, because it's not a linear scaling. Instead, it's making you a little bit sublinear scaling for some point, and then it's falling down almost for zero. Why? Because the blocks is only 20% of a network activity. 80% of a network activity is not conforming transactions, and they are disturbing the network a lot. Meaning the point what you should optimize, it's really transactions, not the block size. Most of the people doesn't realize that point, and practically we are not waiting what the people who are using Bitcoins, they are have any engineering backgrounds. The engineering backgrounds, it should be like they're on the developer side, because the really developers understand how Bitcoin is working. And the case what they get in community on the SegWit activation, it just show what they have two different teams. One of them thinking what the increase of the block size will give necessary performance and scalability, but another one, technical side, more educated side, they're thinking the SegWit is more efficient one. That's a normal process. It's a social aspect. And if you have two competitive teams who are battling all the time, you never move forward. And it's nice and absolutely normal process. Then the not a great people in a smaller team will split and make Bitcoin Cash, the separate fork, separate network. They just moving the engineering solution what they think can be successful on the market, and the rest world are using the Bitcoin which SegWit activate.
All right, and since that activation, how have you been? Well, I'm trying to find a good way to phrase the question. Have you been encouraged, discouraged, or your expectations are being met of how the Lightning Network is progressing since SegWit got in? So is it exceeding your expectations, not below your expectations, or just right on the current progression of Lightning on top of actual Bitcoin?
I'm realist from that point of so thinking. I fully understand there can be very efficient, very evolutionary, efficient ideas, but not necessarily all the community can get it for adoption and start using it immediately. The Bitfury pay a lot of attention for Lightning development. They hire especially 5 separate developers who help and force the Lightning development for Elizabeth Stark, for their team.
Lightning Labs, yeah.
Yeah, for Lightning Labs. They also developed the routing for Lightning Network. It's absolutely necessary thing if you would like to make the Lightning Network huge and scalable. But there is one more point what is really disappointing, and then people are just repeating this wrong sentences about the Lightning. Mostly Roger Ver was saying the Lightning is off-chain, and this is not true because the Lightning is not like hanging in the air. It's required the blockchain. It's operating on the blockchain all the time. Lightning provide the additional layer, absolutely the same like the Visa. Then the people are trying to compare the Visa and Bitcoin blockchain. They are just trying to compare not comparable things. The Visa is just a transport. It's not a currency. It's not a network. It's not an infrastructure. It's just transit transfer for transferring values. And if you would like to compare the something what is more affordable and comparable to Visa, the Lightning is really exactly the same product. And it's easily can beat the Visa because the Lightning can provide you over 4,000 transactions per second only on 7 different point-to-point connections. And if you're going for a massive scale, the Lightning also changing a lot of things. It's really making the evolution of the payments and changing the idea how we are paying for services and opening absolutely different markets, what they are never seen and never used before. Like in micropayment was open a lot of additional services where you are not ready to pay like $10, that you're not ready to invoice the customers because it's not efficient. The Lightning is doing absolutely the same thing, but it's opening more bigger market, in times bigger markets what we have right now, because you can pay super micropayment. It's very fast speed, but at the same time, you can also send a huge amount of money, like 1 million or 10,000 millions. It just changes the nature of the payments and nature of invoices.
All right, Leah, you have a question for us.
I do. What's Bitfury's stance regarding SIA's report about the eventual convergence of mining centralization because of ASIC development, competitive advantages, and capital?
Oh, and we want to say hi to Thor. He looks very, very comfortable behind you there.
Can you see him?
Yeah.
He likes what he hears.
Hope so. I like dogs.
I don't know how a 110-pound dog is able to curl up like that, but yes, he's very curious as to your answer, Alex.
So the mining, so first of all, the mining evolution from CPU, FPGA, GPU to ASIC is absolutely normal evolution. It's all about the efficiency optimization. And that's efficiency optimization. It's also the basics of the economy. If you have a network and you have operational expenses, you can lower the operational expenses. It provides you additional lower cost for your transactions, what you have. Practically the fee, what they are paying, they are covering expenses of the miners and the full node supporters. And if you can make them lower, if using the optimization on the mining equipment, if you're consuming less electrical energy, then you can perform the same transaction for a lower fee. It's normal balance between 3 different groups who working in the Bitcoin. It's users, wallet owners, full node supporters, and miners. They are defining 3 different groups who are trying to protect their own interests. And they are doing their work just to support the community and protect their interests. The mining, performing transaction processing, finding the blocks and locking them. And they are doing their work and hoping what they will get reward and they will cover their expenses. If you try to create a network where you're using proof of work, but there is 0 transaction fee, the miners will be not interested, they will stop act, and your network will not be functioning. If you're using the full node for your business, you're practically donating, supporting the network. And the wallet owner, they also trying to protect their interests, and they are practically against the miners and against the full node supporters, trying to keep their values, their wallets, and trying to improve the network.
I got, unless you have,
Maybe-
unless you have a
maybe-
follow-up, Leah, I was going to ask him one more question before he has to go, but go ahead.
Sure, there's one more question, but go for it, Tim.
All right, let me throw one at you. What do you think about the potential of side chains or what Rootstock is trying to do, along with Paul Stortz and drive chains? How do you see that soft fork, and do you think it will happen?
So I don't know what
Well,
soft fork you're asking about. because
the
they-
drive chain soft fork, in order for them to do drive chain and merge mining. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't read myself. I have not had too much time to look into drive chains, which is why I interview people that may know more than me. But I know that it will require a soft fork in order to have a drive chain side chain. In order for Rootstock to potentially be on there, though Rootstock I think is gonna launch their smart contracts on a current side chain, which doesn't need a soft fork. I don't know if you are up to date on the viability of side chains on Bitcoin and merge mining in that form.
So first of all, the Rootstock right now build a solution which allow you to run the smart contracts more efficient, also bringing the smart contracts to Bitcoin. The Rootstock made like really great innovation, building more efficient engine. There you can just take the smart contracts from Ethereum, port them to Rootstock, and they are operating there. They even perform the virtual machine optimization, and the smart contracts from Ethereum on the Rootstock are running almost 3 times faster. They also able to port 3 different smart contracts on the Rootstock. But yes, the Rootstock is relying on the Bitcoin. Right now, they also merged mine it, and right now they have approximately like 4, maybe 5 exahashes on their network. It's absolutely enough to secure the Rootstock network. And because they are merging mining, they also operate on the Bitcoin network. They can run the smart contracts absolutely safely and securely, making them immutable like any other blockchains. The future software can improve the rootstock operation and all the side chains operations for any companies who would like build their solution. But right now, rootstock can operate even without the software. Software like this segment software, it just provides the additional benefits and making their life much easier and implementation of the side chains much easier. Also providing the additional features and functionalities for Bitcoin.
All right, you got another question for us, Leah?
We do. All right. What privacy?
Last one, if you have time, Alex.
Last one, Alex. You okay? You have a little time?
Absolutely. I also skipped your question about the centralization of mining. So because if you would like,
Oh
I can
yeah,
answer right
do you
also.
think it's very quick? Do you think mining is sufficiently decentralized enough today?
I think it's enough decentralized today because
not.
also it's enough. It's
Enough,
okay.
decentralized enough today. Excellent.
So the centralization for like huge miners, it's allowed to minimize the expenses, and that minimizing of expenses, it's also allow us to get the lower fee for transactions. Because if you're just installing like 10,000 miners around the globe, it's very hard to maintain them. It will be very high cost for you to keep the connection, monitor them, repair them, provide maintenance for miners. The most optimal solution, if you're installing them in reasonable amounts in some location, where I get the optimal conditions, lower temperature, good price for electricity. You can also maintain like 1,000 or 5,000 thousand miners in one single location, and these allow you to optimize the expenses. In results, these also provide huge benefits exactly for users. Not a lot of users understand that, but just centralization or decentralization, it's two diametral points, and they are not the good ones. the most optimal decision is somewhere in the middle. And right now on the market, they have exactly the solution. So it's a couple of the data centers. It's a couple of the huge players controlling some of the data centers for manufacturing the hardware, but they are best in their operations, what they are doing. They know how to optimize expenses, how to build a data center, how to maintain the equipment, and provide a better quality service for all Bitcoin networks.
All right, and last one, that's the question about privacy. Leah, go ahead, ask it. Leah, are you with us? Oh boy, I hope I didn't lose internet. Okay, so the question is, what privacy improvements are you looking forward to, and how does this tally with your blockchain inspection tool?
The crystal data is a very simple instrument which allow you to perform blockchain analysis. But the blockchain analysis can provide you a lot of statistical data to better understand also the economy of the blockchain. No one is going using the analysis tool just to identify all the persons, because it's not just reasonable. It's just like trying to, like from a machine gun, hit the flies. And Crystal blockchain also providing the simple things like IML and TLC for banking. Using the semi-automatic tools, you can just perform the analysis of all the inputs and provide the final record. How clean is your money? 80% came from like gambling, 20% came from mining. The result you can make is just conclusion and also prove where you get your funds. The Crystal blockchain also allow you to analyze and inspect transactions where his money is stolen. But financial institution, they really need the tool just to better understand how the blockchain and Bitcoin is working. And just to build a bridge between the Bitcoin and the existing financial system and banking system, they need to provide some tools, provide some like comfort for financial institution. And Crystal blockchain is exactly that tool. It's providing the analysis for financial institution, providing the additional analysis data for them to better understand what the sources of money they are dealing with. I think this can increase overall market and also can improve the Bitcoin community and Bitcoin turnover around the globe.
All right, gotcha. Hey, we got Leah Wall back. We lost you there for a minute, trying to keep both things at once. All right, well, Alex, thank you so much. Hey, Johnny. We're actually live, but I got Bruce Fenton next, but then come on by after. Okay. Yeah. All right. That was Johnny Dilly, everyone. Those of you remember him from the debate with Roger Ver. All right, we're gonna let you go. Anything final you want to add? Want to say any closing statements right into the camera there?
I'm just glad to answer to any questions. So, all your question is very interesting for me. So initially, when I was just touching the Bitcoin, I was thinking it's a simple thing. But right now, I'm realizing it's a very, very, very interesting new tool. And it's practically like changing the old world, two-dimensional world for a three-dimensional, more efficient one. I think it's really like financial tool for next level of evolution, economy evolution.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. Let me unmic you there for a second.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. And that was Alex Petrov of BitFury. How do people find you?
So you can check our website. I have also a profile on the Twitter, so sysman.net. And you can find me also on the Facebook.
Awesome. So check out the work of BitFury. They always put on really good reports. All right, thank you, Alex. And we got Bruce Fenton up next. I just want to read to the camera. So if you want to just tell Bruce Fenton to walk over whenever. Whenever you're ready, Bruce. All right, hold on, guys. Here, so there's the headphones. Okay. You may want to do it the other way. Flip it. Yep, perfect. And you may want to leave that one open because you want to hear me.
Okay.
Here's the microphone. So attach it as close as possible. And I'm gonna redo the camera here because
All right.
I know that Leah is very, very beautiful, and but we gotta try to look at the camera and not on her in our computer screen, which is my problem as well. So I'm gonna lower the camera here. I'm gonna raise it this way.
Tony, you gave us a roller coaster ride with that one.
Yeah, you guys saw what's happening behind now. Bruce is tall. I'm like dealing with Jimmy Song again. Yeah.
Hi,
Perfect.
Bruce. How are you?
Right there.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, good.
Yeah, we're having slight bandwidth issues, but there is like a million people here. You were here last year and the year before as well, right?
Yeah, that's
Isn't
right.
this crazy?
It is absolutely crazy. It's amazing to see the difference from the conferences you and I used to go to in the old days, where you'd know everybody. There was a couple hundred people. Nobody could afford booths like this, these fancy booths. And
Oh no, it's amazing the
it's
kind
incredible.
of things you can accomplish when you're printing your own money, like the majority of the booths.
Right.
But well, what was it? So Bruce, so what brings you out to this conference? Let's start there.
I think I cut down on conferences a lot, but this one's good because it's so big and there's so many good people. I mean, there's a lot of noise and a lot of junk and a lot of scams and stuff, but there's still a couple hundred good friends that I have here, so it's nice to see the same people. And I don't watch a lot of the sessions, but it's kind of nice to have the energy and sort of get a pulse and feel of where the industry's going. That's
excellent. So where do you feel the industry's going?
I think that it's exciting that there's so many people. We were just talking a second ago. I think it's exciting there's so many people because even though it's mostly dominated by noise, if out of the, call it 10,000 people that are in town for this and the other events, if even 20% of them are looking for substance, a lot of them are going to be driven towards Bitcoin and other, more cypherpunk kind of projects. So I think that's encouraging. I think that the technology is good, and the more people that are exposed to it, even if they're first exposed by something that's kind of scammy, hopefully some will get washed out, but some smaller piece, maybe 20% of those, will kind of learn about the technology, and so I'm encouraged by it. I think that's good. I think the industry is definitely growing. There's going to be a lot of shakeouts. A lot of these projects are going to be gone. They'll go down to zero. It's not just they're going to do badly. It's not just that they're going to drop by 50%. They're going to go to zero because they just have, some of them have just no value at all. But I don't want to be totally cynical because even projects with very little value, if they even have one piece of code that's useful, maybe somebody else will acquire them. Maybe they'll do something, maybe some commercial application, but there's going to be a lot of a shakeout before that.
Yeah, so what projects outside of, obviously you're a fan of Bitcoin.
For sure.
So what tokens or projects or altcoins are you a fan of outside of Bitcoin, and why?
I like, I'm definitely, there's different types of Bitcoin maximalists. There's some types that say nothing else will ever work. There's some that say it should be kind of their maximal portfolio. I'm sort of the second type. I'm a maximalist in the sense that I think that it's the best coin, the most secure, the biggest network, the most potential, and I also think that it has the best chance of being a global money supply, being a global reserve currency. So those are all really big deals and really big things in favor of Bitcoin. But I do think that there's a chance that some of these other applications will be useful, particularly the bigger projects. And I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know the tech behind these things. I just know when there's a lot of investment and a lot of smart people, and that would include the larger projects. I don't own huge pieces of most of those, but I think that there's a good chance that somebody will develop something useful from it. And then within Bitcoin, I'm mostly interested in the Lightning Network. I'm interested in cross-chain atomic swaps. I'm really interested. RSK is now able to work on Bitcoin, so you can use all of the powers of Solidity and Ethereum right on the Bitcoin network using the Bitcoin security. So those are the things I'm most interested in right now.
All right, great. I also wanted to ask you, because ever since you started the Satoshi Roundtable event, which is by invitation only, and since you are connected to some of the higher profile people in the space, it has become like a running conspiracy theory that is the Bilderberg of crypto.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the nice thing about real crypto is there's definitely people who want to try and be in power. And the nice thing about real crypto is that the power is in the code. So if you did get a bunch of people who were sort of high profile in the space, all they can do is share ideas. You're high profile in the space. You don't have the ability to you can't change it to 22 million coins, not without a help.
No, but people think that if it goes down under 6,000, it'll be all my fault.
True. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, this is a great example. It gets so noisy at these events. I think it's nice to just do something kind of private, like a private dinner or something. And the privacy part is criticized sometimes, but it's really just because there's not enough space. Everybody wants to come to the roundtable. It's probably second most popular event after this one, but it's limited because if we let everybody in, it would look like this.
Right? And that's the thing.
You gotta keep it small.
Nobody cared about Satoshi Roundtable until they saw the guest list.
Right.
And when you see the guest list and who's actually going, now everybody wants to go.
Right.
And
I wish we could let them. I love people. I wish we could let them all in, but then it would be consensus, and then the first people wouldn't want to come because they want to you get pitched and stuff so many times. The folks that have come to the roundtable again and again, they like to just sit down like the old days where you just sit down.
Like a no solicitation for your token policy.
Right. It is. We have an unofficial policy of no pitches and no media. We're not super strict about that. Everybody kind of has their own project, but.
Oh, man, I was going to go next time and do interviews like this.
Yeah.
It's voluntary media is okay.
Yeah,
right?
voluntary media is fine. Yeah, and we've had some media that's voluntary and even involuntary. We had DeRozan Johnson snuck in one year.
Oh, I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah. Oh, I made a deal with them. I said, look, I don't want to have security throw you out because I like free speech and everything, but you also, it is invite only, and we did tell these people that they'd have privacy, so why don't we just make a deal? If they want to be on, they can be on. But if they want to be private, just don't take a camera in. And that works well. Most people, as long as you're not, tape recording a conversation that they don't know, most people are pretty cool with that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Bitcoin Uncensored podcast being no longer with us?
I miss it.
Yeah, we all do, right? You used to listen to it as well, right?
Yeah, sure. I like all this stuff. It's so hard now. At one point I had listened to every single Let's Talk Bitcoin episode. And that day is long gone. I can't keep up with your show or any of the shows.
Oh, I don't know how anyone can keep up with my show.
You put a lot of content on it.
I had to pick up the slack after Bitcoin Uncensored went away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was an unfortunate situation. All right, Bruce. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's exciting. It's an exciting world. I'm big on tokenization of securities. One thing. Since you have a lot of Bitcoin, sort of really strong maximalists. One thing that people misunderstand with tokenization of securities, they say, well, a blockchain can't be aware of something outside of it, like a security, and that's true. But the thing that I've focused on a lot is that the blockchain doesn't need to be aware about, because securities are just an invention of the world anyway. Goldman Sachs and individuals and companies and the whole government system has invented this thing we call securities. So that's just a system that's between humans anyway. And my thought is that why can't you just say this thing represents if you designate a token, say this represents it through a shareholder resolution, like Overstock did, that's a real security. And believe me, the SEC is going to enforce that just like a real security. So that's an area I like. I think being a stockbroker, I think that, in my previous life, I think that's an exciting area that has some potential.
I will just comment real quick before we have another question, is that I kind of agree with you, but see, because there were so many scams in anyone going public themselves or any company making themselves like magically qualified to take other people public, this is how we ended up with all these rules and regulations.
Right.
And if you take that away, it's going to go back to why those regulations came in the first place.
Well, we can still follow the regulations. I'm pretty anarchist, but I actually don't mind the SEC as far as regs go. I've been governed by them since I was 19 years old when I got my Series 7. And I don't think they're that bad. I think that we can follow the existing regulations. So the problem with the ICO market is people tried to avoid the regulations. They said, well, it's really a security, but I'm going to pretend it's not a security. I'm going to call it a utility. And then my lawyers make this structure and pretend it's a utility, not a security. And that's bad because, for one thing, most of them are breaking the law. They really are securities. And two, they have bad metrics around it. So it's like with a security, at least if the company works, you make money because you own part of it. But with an ICO, you could actually, most of these will fail, but some of them will, the real sad thing, some of them will actually succeed in the sense of financial, but the token holders won't get any money because the token will still be useless. So they'll take the millions that they raise, go make some other business. Some of them will actually succeed, but the token holders will still get screwed. Whereas with,
I agree, they're gonna have to find a way to phase out the token.
right, but with a real security,
Like
you just
Ripple.
say you own part of this business. You own 10% of the business, and then if the business works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Some of them will work, and maybe not even be blockchain companies. It might be a real estate company.
And the only ICOs that I've seen that are borderline viable are those that are backed by VC investment. Hey,
Right.
don't go too far. I wanna do a quick interview.
Bruce.
Wait, Leah, before you go, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We got Jimmy Song back.
What's up, Jimmy?
And hey, so Jimmy Song is gonna confirm about. Jimmy Song is gonna confirm what all of the what do you call it? That all of the conspiracies over Satoshi Roundtable are true because Jimmy was at the last one.
He wasn't there.
What do you mean?
No.
Okay, there's video of me
Well, you said
Drunk.
conspiracy.
with drunk
Secret.
Oh
Anne-Marie Sachet after I did 9 shots of tequila with Jameson Locke. So I think there's evidence that I was there, Bruce.
All right.
I think proof of
Is it-
drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Just gonna protect your identity.
Proof of drink.
But what's the thing that we're discussing?
Oh no! That's it. You have any audience questions for us before we let Bruce go?
Yeah, we do. We
Something
do.
about some weird blockchain project that he was endorsing or something.
Dog training on the blockchain. It's ice cream and dog training on the blockchain. If you don't like ice cream,
Leah, you can use that for
You're wrong.
Thor.
I could. I love it.
are you saying dogs don't want to be trained? Why
I'm
can't we
against
put
dog
dog
training.
training on the
It's
blockchain?
decentralized dog training on the blockchain.
Sit,
Don't forget
stay.
that.
A stranger will teach them
These are important
each
things.
different trick, I guess.
And if more people own dogs, we could have up to 6 billion
But
dog owners.
there's already a Donkey Coin. What are you gonna
There
do?
you
What
go.
are you gonna name the ICO?
Competition.
All right, Bruce. Questions
Yes.
for you?
Yes.
All right. First one. How important do you think it is running a full book? It's nice to have Jimmy on this one too. So how important do you think running a full Bitcoin node is for individuals?
It's not important at all if they don't want to know how much money they have. But if they really want to know how much money they have and how much Bitcoin they have and don't want to trust somebody else, then it's like the most important thing. And I think knowing how much you have without having to trust a third party to tell you is pretty important. So I would say node is thumbs up on the nodes.
Do you run a full node?
Yeah, of course. Have for years.
Perfect. Jimmy, you look like you have a question for him.
No.
No, we're good. Bruce, anything else you want to add? Right into the camera. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, well, I'm on Twitter, Bruce Fenton, and Twitter's probably the best.
Hey, question for you.
Sure.
Are you gonna invite this man to the next?
Oh, he already did. I'm invited.
Leah invited.
Sure.
Yeah, because you get a +1, right? So
And can I invite some other people that I think might be useful to have
I
there?
trust your judgment. We'll discuss it for sure.
Okay.
We're
all right.
limited on size. Everybody wants to go, but there's a certain group of people that I say like, these are good people who have the ideals that, I think are.
He's
good
guilting me
good voices.
into inviting good people. Although there was a guy that was claiming to be Satoshi there.
It's
I heard about that.
It's never perfect.
We're gonna. I want
don't
to talk
know
to you about
about
that
that
later.
myself.
Well, why don't we ask Bruce about that right now?
I-
How did you invite that? How that guy get
you
an
and
invite?
somebody's +1.
It was a +1. I actually heard this story, so that's why I was gonna talk to you about it at a different time on camera.
And we are kind of strict on the +1s even
You
because,
want to know who they are?
well, yeah, I mean, it says right in it, and people push this limit and everything, and it's hard because some people are good friends, and I do trust their judgment. I want to have them come, but we put right on and we say, look, +1s, if it's your spouse or friend or significant other, fine. But if it's somebody in the industry, we do want to kind of approve it because it's sort of like an extra invite, and mainly we just want to keep the balance. And it's nothing to get, it's okay if somebody's pitching an ICO, but we want like maybe 2 or 3 out of maybe 1 or 2% or something.
Yeah.
We don't want 10 or 20 people.
Well,
And-
but
and
it was
same-
weird that somebody claiming to be Satoshi happened to be at Satoshi Roundtable.
Right.
That was just weird.
Right. I didn't know anything about that until after I heard about it like 2 days later.
Yeah, and the guy, it was just weird, and a lot of other people seem to think that he was Satoshi that were there. It was just a really weird situation.
These weird things happen every year. There was a high-profile person that came one time and was kind of hiding. I mean, there's different interesting things happen. It's definitely an interesting event for sure.
Especially that clown thing. That was a little bit interesting.
I like that.
That's your style of entertainment, I think. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's some very sad
we had a
singing
7-foot clown come who has a great voice, so that was good.
And a lot of people were going, "What the hell is this?"
That was exactly the reaction I was trying for.
That's exactly the reaction
what I was shooting for.
Yeah.
Well, are you guys sure you actually saw that? I did hear Jimmy say 9 shots of tequila, so I think judgment could be impaired.
No, that was the first night. Max and Stacy egged me on like a few nights later. This is why I don't drink anymore. I've taken a vow of, no alcohol for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
Bruce, one last comment or question for you. Can you comment on Ravencoin before you go?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's a project I co-wrote the white paper on. I mean, it's it's code. It's issued in the kind of classic cypherpunk idea. I wrote down some ideas. Some people put those in the code, issued the code. There was no pre-mine, there was no ICO, there was no sale of any kind. There was no, it's just an experiment. It's proof of work. I mean, when I say experiment, people say, well, you're not serious about it. No, I'm real serious about it. I've spent a long time. I spent years sort of developing this idea and thinking about it. Basically what it is it's a simple vanilla fork of Bitcoin with some things added to changing the op return codes to make it so that assets can be issued using a similar model to like Mastercoin or Counterparty. And
that's your comparison, Mastercoin and Counterparty?
So well, it adds the things, some of the op return codes like Mastercoin and Counterparty. All right, let me back up for a second. I think that issuing some kind of assets on some kind of strong chain is a use case. And I like securities. I know that a lot of people don't think that securities will work. I've seen securities issued. I was a stockbroker for 20 years. I think that there's already been some securities tokens issued, like Overstock issued them. I issued one as a test. And I was looking as a securities issue, I was looking for solid chains to do it. So I don't like Ethereum because, I mean, I like Ethereum, but I think that one weakness is that the chain is not immutable. You have centralized authorities who have and proven that they can change the chain. Bitcoin is the best chain, the strongest chain. So I invested in RSK. I was really interested in anything that allows tokens to be issued on the Bitcoin chain. And I still think that's probably the best chain to issue. Ravencoin was designed to be a sample. The problem with Bitcoin is that we don't, at least I don't, as a Bitcoin holder and a longtime believer, I wouldn't really want the Bitcoin to just merge every commit that helps asset layers or helps these other use cases. We want at least I want the Bitcoin developers to be focused on making it the best money and all of the things that we need to do to make it for money. So I think that some of these other ideas could work. Ravencoin's an experiment in that. If it works and if it turns out that some of these changes to op return codes can be done, then either those things could be merged back into Bitcoin or side chains, or it could be its own use case. The network is growing very, very fast. It's two terahash per second. It's like 12,000 nodes, very, very fast. Pretty strong network. But the idea was to combine kind of the great security that the Bitcoin developers created in the Bitcoin chain, and experiment to see if it could be used for these other use cases. So that's what it was. Like I said, it's not an ICO or something, so there's nobody in charge of it. There's nobody ahead of it, or any money raised or anything like that. So it is a bit different than a lot of projects. But
there's no founder rewards. You're not profiting directly from the token.
I had to buy it like everybody else. I had to mine it and buy it. The first day that it was issued, the binaries were released to the public. They were announced months ahead of time. It was announced on the 9th anniversary of Bitcoin, and then the binaries released on the 9th anniversary of Bitcoin also. And it was announced to a lot of people. So within 4 days, the network already had 4,500 people. So I was able to turn on my mining rigs just like everybody else. I had to compete on the first day with 70 people, and within a few days, I had to compete with everybody else. So so definitely there was no special advantage for any developer or founder or any special miner. It was totally fair public launch that anybody could participate in, and a lot of people did. It's probably the most widely distributed coin, certainly by far one of the most fairly distributed coins in terms of number of people that contributed on the network. But yeah, it was just completely fair mine. Every single coin that exists is only able to be, you only can get it through mining. You can't get it. There was never any sale of any kind.
All right, well, I'm not familiar with it, so I can't ask any more advanced critical questions. But Bruce,
I'd love to give you critical questions sometimes. I only answered that because somebody asked about it. I'm not here to push that or promote it or anything like that.
I'm not familiar with it at all, so it's impossible for you to keep track of all the coins that are coming out. But thanks a lot for stopping by, and perhaps I'll see you at the next Satoshi Roundtable.
All right. That sounds good, man.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thanks.
You got a mic right there. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you. I got someone else lined up for you guys. Give me 1 second here.
Hey, what's going on? Are you still recording?
Yeah, we're still live. I was gonna get Aaron in here.
Yeah, get Aaron in here. This is the man.
Wait, I'm trying to.
Who's that?
That is the lovely Mia, who is my co-host.
Do I put this on right here?
Yeah, you put that on. You get to hear her.
There we go. Tom's being nice. Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Hello.
Aaron, I'm gonna stick this right there.
I'm looking for questions for you.
There we go.
Sweet.
So people may not be familiar with who you are. Man, you're tall, but not tall enough. There we go. I'm gonna do this, right? So there you go. Now you guys see the spelling of their names, the camera right there. Right, so I have to inform people. I'm trying to get people to look at the camera instead of looking at Leah, which is extremely difficult for everyone, including myself.
Can I just look at you?
No, you don't want to look at me. But Aaron is one of very few writers who is absolutely excellent, and you did an amazing job throughout the whole Bitcoin hard fork, user activated soft fork, all of those debates at the time. And tell us about that, and what were you thinking? Because your journalism is you lean Bitcoin maximalist, I believe.
In a way, I don't necessarily subscribe to that philosophy. Just that I think most altcoins are shit. Like there's nothing interesting going on, so that kind of puts me in the camp of Bitcoin maximalist. But if something interesting would happen, I would embrace it.
And all of your articles focus on Bitcoin.
Yeah. I focus on stuff I find interesting, and the stuff that's interesting in this industry. So that's mostly Bitcoin.
Clearly, there was a lot of interesting stuff around this time last year because we were going into the fork.
Yeah.
And then the fork that actually happened. What are you finding interesting in the space now to write about? Because lately it just seems altcoin. Blockchain.
That is a great question because Bitcoin has gotten a little bit boring, which is good in many ways. Like it was due to some boring time and have developers kind of focus on their stuff and instead of fighting on forums and all that. So that's good. As a journalist, it's a little bit boring. But recently I've been focusing more on. I'm kind of working on a project where I dive into the prehistory of Bitcoin. So I did a long article on David Chaum and DigiCash and that sort of stuff. And my next article would be about Hashcash and then kind of.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So it's not completely new. People know that this stuff exists, but there's a lot of stuff to tell about. Like there's a lot of untold stories there, which I kind of like to dive into over the next couple of months.
Okay, so it was slightly brought up in our previous discussion. Have you ever had a desire to do a serious investigative reporting to try to figure out who Satoshi is?
Interestingly, if I would if I would find out who Satoshi is, I probably wouldn't even publish it because he wants his privacy, right? So I'm like, I'm probably one of the few journalists who just wouldn't actually reveal that unless he wants me to. That would be great. Like if Satoshi is watching this and you want to finally reveal
Oh, well,
yourself.
Satoshi is definitely watching this.
Yeah, so contact me if that's the case. But unless you don't want to be revealed, I'm not gonna. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go and investigate that case to sort of reveal his identity against his wish. I wouldn't do that.
Excellent. That's exactly what we want to hear from our ethical journalists in our space. So next, where do you see, how do you see Wall Street approaching Bitcoin and crypto? I'm sure you have communications with Wall Street journalists or potentially, people on Wall Street. Like, what are they thinking? What are they looking at? And is that something you may pursue in future articles?
No.
Like, and actually, which way is it going to go in the traditional finance realm?
Don't I have no idea. You're wrong. I don't have these contacts. I have contacts with the technical community and these kinds of guys.
Okay.
Wall Street is not my world. That's your world. That's you. You,
All right,
you
so
answer
in
that
that
question.
case,
You answer that question.
Let's talk about, I have to actually have time to actually, a lot of them are quitting and joining ICOs these days. Okay, so let's go back to the technical side. How are you seeing Lightning progressing? Because I'm sure you've interviewed many of the people in that realm, and I asked the same question to Alex Petrov earlier. Like, since SegWit got into the system, has the development of Lightning and Lightning channels met your expectations, exceeded your expectations, or has underperformed your expectations?
Well, so first of all, it's very early. So it's
All right, that's why it's an expectations perspective.
Yeah, but it's too soon to be disappointed or anything like that. But I think the main disadvantage of Lightning right now is kind of the main advantage of Bitcoin, which is network effects. Like Bitcoin, regular Bitcoin has huge network effect, right? Like all wallets are designed for regular Bitcoin transactions and all that sort of stuff. While Lightning transactions require different address formats and different wallets and all that sort of. So it's a completely new system. So what's required for Lightning to actually catch on is interoperability with the old network. So more smooth transition where you can make Lightning payments to someone who has a regular Bitcoin wallet and they will receive an on-chain payment, or the other way around where you make an on-chain payment and a merchant receives a Lightning payment, right? So this interoperability needs to develop, and that is definitely being developed as well. There's different projects going on there. Some of them are more basic, and others are more advanced, like slicing. And so the developers are working on that. And I think this type of stuff will need to roll out in wallets to take advantage of the network effect that Bitcoin already has, and to make Lightning a seamless experience within the same network effect. So that's happening. I would expect that to be usable within a year or so. But don't hold your breath. But it's happening. People are working on it, and once that's ready, I think that's when we'll see Lightning actually take off. Because then you're not disadvantaged by having a Lightning wallet or having funds in a Lightning channel or anything like that. Experience needs to be smooth, and it will be.
All right. Well, he already said that he's not a finance guy, but do you think Ethereum will be called a security?
Someone on Twitter commented, I would classify this an insecurity.
I should have asked that question to Bruce Fenton. I meant to ask it, but then I got sidetracked when Jimmy came over and went back to conspiracy theories of Satoshi and other things. Man, if Bruce Fenton comes by, I'm going to ask him that question.
I think it's a weird thing somewhere in between a security and like a postage stamp or whatever, because that's kind of what it does, right? So I don't know.
Aaron.
We'll see. It will be interesting. Yeah.
Everybody wants to know generally, what do you think about consensus?
Well, it's 99% fluff, and you can't sit down for a lunch and someone will try to pitch you their dumb blockchain token project. So it's 99% fluff, but there's also 1% interesting stuff. If you find the interesting stuff, and it's a big conference, right? There's lots of stuff going on. If you know where to find the more interesting talks or people, then you can have a reasonably good time.
Let's just say this conference is so big, I have not seen the Bitcoin.com booth or much of their merchandise at all.
That's all downstairs. There's like a whole
Yeah,
floor
it's
full
like
of
all
them.
drowned out. Aren't you happy about that as well?
Yeah, you can easily ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't go there, and you won't be bothered with all the chants and all the. Yeah.
Aaron, given that you did say 1%, what's your highlight so far? That's just my own question.
I guess most people will answer the Jimmy song debate, which I would probably agree. That was fun. That was Jimmy brought some excitement into the room, and you had a lot of people clapping for him, and then but actually more people clapping for I think Jeremy Rubin. So that's probably the kind of conference it is. That was a lot of fun. What else?
What's the next conference you're looking forward to attending?
Definitely building on Bitcoin in Lisbon.
That's the one in Lisbon. Do you know what date?
Yeah, July 3rd and 4th.
I think I need to be there. I mean, it's 4th of July.
That's what all the Americans.
All right, I'm gonna look into that. It sounds like that's the one because I missed the one in France. So it looks like I should make sure I come out there. All right, great. So we'll probably see you there. If I'm there, we'll do another interview.
That's it.
All right, thanks. This was, you got to pronounce your name for our people.
Aaron van Weerdum.
All right, you guys got that? That was Aaron of Bitcoin Magazine. All right, guys. And we'll bring on, I'll keep going as long as there's interesting people to interview. And we got one more walking over. So are we going with a Bitcoin traveler?
Hey, I didn't know. Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Mic test, mic test.
Let's put this a little bit higher. And
Hey.
I want to see if you are trying to
What's up? How you doing?
Hey, how's it
We're
going?
with the Bitcoin traveler. Why don't you tell our people something about yourself? I think you've already been on my channel long ago once in a similar style interview set. Oh, yeah, you want to
Have we had an interview together? I cannot remember.
Maybe, but you were standing like right next to us during the Roger Ver debates over in Acapulco.
Right.
You're probably one of the few people that's attended more conferences than myself over the last couple of years.
I've been all over the place. Yeah. My name is Felix. I'm a programmer. I've been in Bitcoin for a couple of years now. Always been very interested in it, and so for the last, I've done this Bitcoin around the world trip. Maybe some people.
And you were only spending Bitcoin.
Yeah. So my rules were Bitcoin wherever possible, no credit card at all, no bank account, no fiat, and the third rule was no exchange of fiat to fiat. So I cannot just withdraw 10K US in Bitcoin and then exchange
go to another country and exchange it.
I mean, that would be stupid, right?
So
every time
you have to go sell Bitcoin again.
Exactly. Every time I went to a new country, I either had to find places on local Bitcoins or not local Bitcoins, on CoinMap that accept Bitcoin directly, or convince them to accept Bitcoin, which sometimes I succeeded to. And or if everything fails, I can use cash. But the only way to get cash for me was go on local Bitcoins, find people want to exchange.
How many countries were you able to cover?
So in the first 18 months of my trips from Berlin to Berlin, I did 27 countries.
27 countries on Bitcoin only.
On Bitcoin only.
And what year was that?
That was January 2015 to June 2016. I came just back right in time to Berlin.
So it was a year and a half.
It was 18 months. Yeah, I mean, originally I wanted to do 12 months, 21 countries, 21 for obvious reasons.
Yep.
And then I was just at country number 17. Actually, I celebrated my anniversary on Yap Island. Are you familiar with Yap Island?
It's vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's the island in the Pacific where you have these the stone money, the rice stones.
Oh yeah, that's why I know it.
Yeah. So I was actually on the island.
Oh wow.
Celebrating with my diving master, who I set up with a Coinbase account. She was a very old lady, so I paid her in Bitcoin, and I didn't trust her to keep the private keys, but I really wanted to have her some Bitcoin. So I set up with Coinbase and sent her some Bitcoin for my diving lessons. And yeah. So okay, but yeah, I was back in Berlin after 2016, and then I said, okay, what can I do? So I've been looking around for some programming stuff, and so
Right. So what are you working on now?
right now I've been doing a lot of research because, I mean, things happening quickly in crypto. But 6 months ago, a lot of people were complaining. Every second article about Bitcoin was like, oh, the fees are too high, crazy, everything is going to fall down. So I've been trying to look into like what is the reasons for some of these high fees, and it turns out that it's actually the fee algorithms, the fee estimation algorithms for a lot of these wallets and exchanges are actually very terrible. And it basically boils down to two things. One is being the wallets don't use replaced by fee. So if as soon as you broadcast a transaction, you have no chance of like change that. So if you have a sudden influx of transaction borrowing your transaction, you will wait a very long time for your confirmation.
Yeah, no, it happened like back in like December when the fees were high. I scammed a couple of friends out of drinks. So you probably know these guys. One goat, and trying to remember who the other person is. There was one goat and somebody else. They bought me drinks over. We were in South America, and I paid them each like $10 in Bitcoin for the drinks, and those transactions never went through. Ended up bouncing back to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I scammed two people in the space for a couple of days.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, there was when the mempool gets really, really full. I think the default setting is like 300 megabytes. Then transactions with low fee will actually get evicted from the mempool.
Right.
And that's probably how you were able to do that. But obviously, in a real scenario, your wallet should warn you if that should happen, and then the receiver can do something. It's called replace child pays for parent. No, child pays for parent.
Oh yeah.
So you can send the change. You can send the money to yourself, attach a slightly higher fee, and that will bump the whole transaction graph in the mempool, because the miners will obviously choose the transaction first that pay the most. So anyway, so I came up with this research and looking at some of these fee estimation algorithms, and they're actually very terrible all over the place, because some of them, even the ones in core right now, they look at past blocks, and if you have suddenly a large demand for block space, the fees rise, and then since the transaction algorithm, fee estimation algorithm looks at past blocks, it will lag behind. So even now there's like no traffic at all, it will still think, okay, these transactions confirmed, so I should use something like that. But you would have also gotten in with way lower, and way low is actually a significant number even today when you hear nobody complaining about fees. And we're talking $250,000 every single day, right now.
Right.
That is being overspent. Money basically we give away to the miners for free. That's one Lambo every single day.
Jeez.
And yeah.
Yeah, we have some questions for you, but finish up. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm just going to finish quickly. So I published my research in February. It's a website called What the Fee, whatthefee.io.
There you go. But you just notched your last name as well, by the way.
And so
keep that in mind.
The website is called whatthefee.io, and it's a website and B, also a free API for exchanges, wallets, anybody who wants to implement this. And it's giving you way better results, way cheaper, and you can bring that number down. We give away to the miners for free every day. They already make a lot of money.
So they utilize, they should be, so is this something that wallets can utilize? Like, how do you get your software out there?
So the wallets would probably just like hook into the free API I'm providing, and then display the user like, okay, fast, quick, slow, and then have like a slider kind of thing. I mean, since it's changing during the week up and down, like there's no fixed size you can say, right? I mean, Timmy was saying before 2 Satoshi will get you in. Actually, 1 Satoshi will get you in, right? If there's no competition, if the mempool is empty, there's no reason to pay more than the minimum. And still, some people do. I can show you a graph later. This is coming to the next version of the website. I'm publishing updates in the coming weeks, which will show you actually a graph of the mempool, how different fee levels are being paid. And you can see how ridiculously we're basically overpaying, even right now. And you don't want to see the numbers for December, November, how much money we're actually overspending there. It was really in the millions.
And how was this operation financed?
It's right now not really financed. I have no
It was just
immediate.
yourself.
Yeah, I mean, since I have no credit card, I use Bitcoin all the time, and I don't want to overspend myself.
Right.
It was a real need
This
for me,
was
and I
something
thought,
that you really
yeah,
wanted
exactly.
to make. You financed the whole thing yourself, and you wrote most of the code.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just me. And I talked to some people for some input who've been researching on these topics before, but it's basically just me writing code and publishing my results.
No
to
ICO
websites.
for you.
No ICO for me. No, I'm sorry. There is an idea how to monetize this later on, maybe by basically you have a free version, which will always be free, which gives you a accurate version. But you might be overspending by 5 cents, 10 cents each time.
Something
if you
more
send,
advanced, maybe something that helps you with like batch transactions.
Yeah.
And optimizes that as a paid subscription for advanced features.
something like that, yeah. But my main idea was basically you pay for a little bit more accuracy. So the free version will gives you already like 10 times better estimates than everything out there right now. But the oh,
We got food.
nice food. It looks very delicious. Thank you. And so you have you have the free version and then the paid version where you had a little bit more accuracy. So if you send 10,000 transactions a day, having these 10 cents being savings is actually real money, right? But if you send like 5 transactions a month, you don't really care about that. The free version will be fine for you.
All right, we got any other questions from the live chat, Leah?
We do. Felix, first of all, Yap Island, very impressive. Stone Money, Micronesia, like as an economist, it's a fascinating place. It's always like, what is money is from there. So I would love to see pictures of you maybe tribal dancing one day. But here's your first question is, what's on your hat? That'll be a quick one. And then what's the easiest country to
It's
spend?
obviously make Bitcoin great again. That's why I'm here, right? I mean, all these people talk blockchain. I have no idea what the blockchain is anymore. I thought I used to know what it is, but every time I go to some of these blockchain conferences, I think I don't really understand what the blockchain is. So, Don, I'm happy if you explain to me what a blockchain is.
Oh God, well, you and I have pretty much the same old school definition. But question for you then, since you have been in Bitcoin for a little bit, did you sell all your Bcash as soon as you could, or did you think there was a reason to hold on to it?
I sold it Bcash pretty much right away because I thought, oh, there might be more forks coming. So my thought was like the earlier I sell all these forks, the more compounding interest I kind of get, right? Because if you always wait until the very end, maybe you make a better deal, maybe the price goes up or down as a pump, whatever. That might be true, but I think my goal is to accumulate the most Bitcoin possible. And if you sell early, you have more like these coins you just sold on that new fork you get for the next fork.
Have you cashed out any other forks besides?
Yeah, I mean that was my original idea, and then it just came too much hassle.
Yeah, I never cashed out anything
diamond
other than the diamond, the private, the gold. I've never cashed any of those out.
I think I'm letting some money on the table, but there's so much more interesting stuff to do with my time. For instance, like working on the fee stuff. And that is, I think, way more useful to the general audience also. So that's what I'm working on.
Have you seen any projects here that are interesting to you?
I mean, I went to the Blockstream.
That wasn't exactly what I meant, but
other than that, it's a little sad. Like, I mean, all this money that is like being wasted here and like time. It's so far from me very unclear what will come out of all of this. But I mean, I might be completely wrong, right? Maybe blockchain is here to come and stay, and we will all these ICOs will go to the moon. And my real concern is like I know as a fact that we have a real developer shortage in the space, even in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is I think still one of the most interesting projects to work on. So even if we have in Bitcoin a shortage of developers, how are all these other ICOs? Even if they have like raised millions and millions of dollars, there's just like no people to hire for them to like make whatever their fantasy.
They have like the greatest developer in the history of the world programming at their ICO.
Yeah, I mean, only time will tell, I think. But I'm very skeptical.
All right.
Are there any more questions in the chat?
Anything else, or we'll let Felix go?
Felix, you're allowed to go. Quick question. What's the easiest country to spend Bitcoin in?
Oh, good
Oh,
question.
that's definitely the US. So actually, that was. Oh, I haven't seen Vinny yet. Actually, I really want to thank
I've
Vinny.
ran into Vinny.
Because there's a funny story on my trip what happened to me. So I was in Hawaii and I was supposed to meet somebody on local Bitcoins to exchange some cash because I need some cash. And but in 3 hours later, I had a flight to the mainland US, and I didn't have any single dollar anymore in my pocket. But I wasn't too worried about that because I was meeting with this local Bitcoin guy, and then he didn't show up. So now I was there like stranded, $0 in my pocket. I had Bitcoin on my phone, but like no taxi driver would drive me there for Bitcoin, right? So in the last moment, I came up with this idea of like there was like Gift, and that was like the startup by Vinny Lingham at the time.
Vinny Lingham was the CEO of Gift.
Yeah, and you could buy like gift cards for anything with Bitcoin. So what I did is I bought a Starbucks gift card, and I used that Starbucks gift card. I went to the Starbucks in line and asked people, hey, do you want to pay cash or credit? And if they said cash, I asked them, hey, can I pay for you with my gift card? And you give me the cash for the purchase. So that's how I was able to amass $20 in change. So I had enough money to like get to the airport to get my catch my flight in time. Yeah.
You are serious on.
I even if I wanted to break my rules, I could not have because I cut my credit card after I was 3 months in. So I didn't have a credit card as a backup.
You have no choice. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you're supposed to do it.
All right, thank you so much, Tone.
Great stories. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
I'm actually starving, so unless you guys want to watch me eat on camera, we're probably going to cut the live feed. I have to do an interview. Someone wants to interview me at 3:30. So if I go live again, it might be in like 15 or 20 minutes if I run into someone interesting. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day for now. But then later tonight, we'll see. I might go live again. And I'm sure it'll be another after party that I'm not going to stay too late at. I'm trying to be somewhat responsible, but we'll see how that goes.
Tone,
should I look at the price before I go? What should we do?
What are these animated characters running around in the background first?
Yeah, they're kind of hard to catch. I'm also not sure if they're supposed to speak. Hey, Felix, can you bring over that? Yeah, the thing in the green.
What's your guess of what it is before it comes over?
Oh, I know what it is. It's got a huge sign that says token sale.
Oh no. Good. All right, you have to do this before going off. And do TA really quickly.
All right, let me take a look at what's going on with the price. I'm gonna go straight to the daily chart. I'm not gonna bother with the other ones, or maybe lower than daily, and we'll see what happens here. Okay, so here's the daily. We are now slightly lower than we were when I did the video this morning. So the daily chart is now below 8,500. I mean, we got about 5 hours to go. Let's see if we close above or below 84.15, and that would be a thing. Here we go. Hey, can you do an interview? Hi, how are you? And you are. Hi, hold on. Oh wait, we got a camera here. Here we go. Let's oh yeah, we got
Hi.
Where's the music coming from? Oh, your cell phone.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Wait, hold on. I can actually attach the mic. This is perfect. You got 5 minutes for an interview on live air? Beautiful. All right, let's do that. Perfect, right there.
Okay.
There's
It's
the microphone for you.
okay. It's a little hard.
And you are a token sale.
I am. Yeah, for block grain.
Excellent. So what is this token?
It's our mascot named Marie.
Okay.
And yeah, she's here to have some fun and promote block grain.
Cool. So what are you giving away?
Just some Starburst, lollies, mints.
No tokens?
No tokens. No.
You have to buy the tokens.
Well, you can check them out at the booth if you're here. But
is that on the second floor?
A what?
A block grain is the booth, right?
Yeah.
I wanna get this right there. There it is. So what is the token? Do you know what the token does?
I don't know.
You don't? Okay.
No, no.
Oh, I was gonna ask about the
Sorry,
token.
Yeah.
Do you know when? So the token sale is already open.
I'm not sure. I'm just kind of here to
Excellent.
dance and party.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, this is consensus. Just making sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping by. And I will take a Starburst. Beautiful. All right. Thank you. Good luck. And there you go. Have fun. Oh, well, there goes the Starburst. Yeah, this is consensus. Man, I should have worn my BitConnect shirt today. Ooh, should I wear my BitConnect shirt tomorrow? Wouldn't that be fun? All right, Leah, unmute, unmute, unmute. People like to.
Oh my, no, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. So I didn't keep myself muted. All right, pull up your TA.
I was gonna interview the awesome person that brought me the food, but she seems to have run away. So we'll have to catch her later. And I will. Let's see if I see anyone. Otherwise, it's time for me to eat. And it's probably time for me to eat, guys. All right. Oh, back to screen share. Let's finish glancing at the price. And here it's bouncing back a little bit, almost back to 8,500. And let's look at the 12-hour chart. The 12-hour chart is getting dangerously close to this red line. Remember, a close below the red line with the lower low of that candle should accelerate the drop to the next red line. That's basically what I'm looking for. Even though some metrics will, like the MACD, for example, are starting to cross. The RSI is starting to go up a little bit. None of that is written in stone because these candles are pretty big. So let's see what happens there. And the 4-hour chart looks pretty much the same. I remain more bearish than bullish for now. And we'll see what happens tomorrow morning, the next time we do price. Right, Leah, thanks for being a trooper and hanging in there with us. Is Thor still with you, or he ran out of the room?
He's asleep behind us. I think the block grain, I don't even know what that is, but you know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. All right, Tone, have a good one.
All right. Oh wait, stop screen share. Oh wait. Let's say proper goodbyes. Here we go. We're on split screen now.
Oh boy. Bye everybody.
I forgot it was still screen sharing. Hey, bye everyone. Thank you for joining us at Consensus. I mean, I know everyone wants me to like interview scammy ICOs, but that's not like, it's kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that from like another boat tomorrow night. We'll see what happens there. All right.
All right, go be mischievous. Bye everybody.
All right, guys. Talk to you all later. Bye.